Standing at this point, which is on the northern side of the castle, we have a view over the former ghetto, and as can be seen, not a huge amount actually is still here in this case. We do have buildings such as the one there, which is from the ghetto, and you can see it in old photographs, as you can the buildings in that street, which is called Lubatovska, where this shopping centre, if that's the right word for it, can be seen today. There was a large open area, and it was the market square, and that can be seen in old photographs. Now, of course, this major road below did not then exist. This was built in the mid-50s as a sort of thoroughfare bypass, maybe, through the town. And one or two places in Poland do seem to have their bypass running through the town, Warsaw being one. In the United States is quite normal, but in Europe it isn't really all that usual. In this area in front of me, where once there had been streets and houses, is now the bus station, and so all of this destroyed by the Nazis. And the boundary of the ghetto was up there where the socialist era flats are today, and following Lubatovska, but we can't actually see the boundary so well from here, but I will be filming it so you can see that in another film. There were streets down here, and in front of me, more or less, was the great synagogue. Now, the synagogue was very big. I would say it was about 1/5 the size of this castle, and look how big the castle is. There we go, so it gives a rough idea. So the synagogue was down there, and it dates from, or dated I should say, from the 16th century. It would now be over 400 years old, and it was destroyed by the Nazis in 1942. Now, the Nazis actually used the synagogue as a place for collecting people when they deported them to Belzec. So they were collected there, then they were taken to the point of deportation, which was near the slaughterhouses, which roughly where Leclerc is today, for those who know Lublin. And then from there they were taken to their deaths. The main streets of the ghetto were down here, where the car park is today. So you had streets like Szeroka and Zamkowa, which were down there. And some of the streets, though, actually can be still seen in their continuation, which was down there. You can more or less work out where it was in the past. Behind me, in the Brama Grodzka Gate, there's this excellent museum which has got the name Theatre NN, and you can see there a photograph from the early 30s taken from an aircraft, and in that photograph gives you a really good idea of what the area used to look like beforehand. One thing here, for example, which has changed, was that the castle was on terraces. These are terraces coming up, whereas now it's just like one big slope upwards. In this case, the Nazis not only destroyed the people, their culture. For example, the synagogue, which was down there, and there's absolutely nothing now remaining of it, but they also destroyed their buildings and their architecture. It shows, I mean, the lunacy behind this, which at the end really damaged their own war effort. And I cannot accept an argument that the Nazis were trying to defeat communism. Their objective, in my opinion, was the destruction of what they termed to be inferior races, starting with Jews, but probably Slavs as well. Totally absurd, even the point of damaging themselves. In this case here, they destroyed a large part of the small business people, the people who actually owned artisan production, from clothing manufacturer to manufacturers of things, in implements for agriculture and this type of thing. People who were providing goods, who were providing services to the Nazis, such as food and other things. The damage done to the agriculture in Lublin by the murder of the Jews and the Nazis' racial policies, totally and utterly absurd. But you might put it this way, that, well, they won because they destroyed the Jews. They got what they wanted.